In today's episode, we are going to ask the question, is youth wasted on the young? Some episodes are for tips and some are to know that you are not alone and to normalize topics that are harder to talk about. And this episode falls into that latter category. So specifically, I was asked to speak about menopause, perimenopause, and I am in no way an expert here. So I will not be on any soapbox. I will not be doing any coaching. I am just a 44-year-old woman going through a phase of life that you asked me to talk about. So that's what we are going to do today. And we're going to try and make it fun because we try and make everything fun. Now, getting older is so amazing. And you will hear this from women over and over again, that the older we get, the more confident we feel, the more clarity we have, the more perspective we have if we're doing the work. You know what I mean? So is youth really wasted on the young? Well, in some ways, yes, because man, what would you give to have that youthful skin back and that youthful carefree and, attitude and the lack of responsibilities. But on the other hand, I wouldn't trade anything for the body confidence and the overall confidence and clarity and perspective that I have now. So perhaps it is not. I will be very honest, though, and tell you that I had a very hard time turning 40. I was not expecting to be hit so hard by it, even though I feel like I had been for the years leading up to it, living a very intentional life. I had so many things to be grateful for, an incredible husband, and I'd already started this business and my beautiful children. And I just wasn't feeling it. I was not feeling it. And I have a very dear friend who is 10 years older than me. And she was like very much validating how I was feeling, which she's like, just give it a few months. Once you cross the 40 threshold, you'll be feeling so much better. And she was right. She was right. But I did have a hard time. And I really spent some time mapping out my priorities for life, because as you are nearing the midpoint of your life and you think about all that you have accomplished, you are left thinking about the time that you have left and how you would like to spend it. And not in a morose sort of way, but in a let's take the bull by the horns, people, and actually go after what we want. So I did spend some time thinking about what my priorities are, and our lives have different seasons. And in this season, I've been more organized than ever, which has helped every aspect of my life. And I am in a season of spending a lot of time with my kids, but I know this season won't last forever either. And so as I was sort of thinking about the next 4 decades, I was thinking about what it would look like once the kids are out of the house too. And what do we want all of this to encompass? And how can we invite all of the joy into our lives? And you might be thinking, well, what does this have to do with menopause and getting older? In some ways, nothing. These are just my musings on getting older, but in some ways, everything. Because as I was thinking about my priorities and thinking about being organized, it really helped me think about embracing any changes to my routine that I would want to see as a result of getting older. And everyone close to me knows this because I say it all the time, but I'm extremely vain. Like, I like looking good. And I do not apologize for that, because when I look good, I feel good. And listen, I've done the inner work. I know it is not all about that by any stretch, But it is one of the things that, because I already feel good about a lot of things, when I feel like I look good, puts me in a better mood. And there are parts of aging that I just don't think look as good as parts of youth. And I am not going to be shitting on myself right now, but it's just the truth that you look in the mirror and you think like, wow, is that actually what I look like now? And it's so interesting because you look at your friends who you're aging alongside with, and they look exactly the same to you, right? Or at least that's how I feel about my friends. And all of my friends take such great care of themselves, their skin and their bodies and their hair, and they all look beautiful. To me, I haven't seen them aging because it happens so slowly. But then you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, is this actually what I look like? And I have decided that I want to do things that slow the clock so that I am putting healthy things in my body, because we know like the more crap we put in our bodies, the more quickly it ages. So we cannot slow the clock, but maybe we can slow down how quickly we look like we're aging. Obviously, I want to grow old gracefully and not look so crazy. But I think there are some things that we can do to make sure that we look and feel our best. So for me, as I'm getting older, I'm trying to stay very in tune with my body. And what's interesting is that my needs have definitely changed. Lately, I have been drinking less water, believe it or not. I have really been enjoying lifting heavier weights. I'm enjoying how it feels, but also seeing a definite aesthetic difference from lifting heavier weights and doing almost no cardio, which also feels good because I never love doing cardio. I don't like washing my hair very often. So, I don't sweat as much from my weightlifting and don't have to wash my hair as often. But that feels really good to be lifting heavier weights. I have been drinking a smaller cup of cold brew in the morning. I'm realizing that I don't need as much caffeine. I still drink it every morning. But when I drink too much, not only does it make me feel like jittery, it's also starting to hurt my stomach. But really just being so in tune to know that this is what I need to really feel my best. I have been going to sleep earlier because I feel like I need more sleep, and that is endlessly frustrating to me. I don't want to be someone that needs as much sleep as I need, but it is my reality, and I fought it for too long, and now I am stopping fighting it because I need more sleep. And the last one I've been doing for a while, but really noticing how sugar makes me feel and just being more mindful about what I am putting in my body and how much of it and when. So those are some of the things I'm doing just because I'm getting older and my body is changing. And it is hard to know how much of what we are feeling and the changes are a result of just getting older and what things are actually attributed, we can blame on. How about that? How much of this we can actually blame on perimenopause and menopause. And the beautiful thing is menopause has become so much more recognized as something that universally women have to deal with. And it's become a lot less taboo to talk about. And I think, on a superficial level, part of that is because women in our 40s and 50s who are going through menopause, we don't look like old ladies. Like if you look at the age of the Golden Girls during that series, they are so much younger. Like they're portraying characters that are so much younger than they look, than, how women who would walk around with those hairstyles and those clothing styles would be today. So I think because we look better, it feels less taboo. Like society is able to embrace talking about it more. I mean, this is my personal interpretation, but I do think it's true. And I am just starting to delve into this topic. And this is why I said at the very beginning, I'm not an expert on it. But some of the things that I have been experiencing that I am going to be blaming on perimenopause is a harder time falling asleep and staying asleep. And I have invested heavily in my sleep to be able to manage this because, as I just shared, I require a lot more sleep than I needed in the past. And so trying to be a lot more disciplined about not being on my phone right before bed and making sure that I'm going to bed consistently, not eating too close to my bedtime, so that I'm setting myself up for the best night's sleep possible, even if my hormones are not on board for that. And then, the other piece of that is just feeling more fatigue, not necessarily just because of lack of sleep, but just also, body's getting older. So these are a couple things that I am keeping an eye on, things that I have not experienced yet, but that I know are very common are irritability. I'm just always irritable. It's like one of my qualities. So I don't know that I'll notice any difference in this one, but I have heard that it's more than just an irritability. It's like a rage. But again, I have often had rageful periods of my life. So I'm sharing this with you in case you have not found yourself to be an irritable or rageful person in the past, and you feel these qualities overtaking you and you can't control them. You might want to explore whether your hormones are to blame. Weight gain, of course, is something that we all need to be aware of can happen. And super not fun is decreased libido. So that's one I'm really not looking forward to and hoping that I will be able to transcend. But from what I hear from my friends who are years ahead of me and having gone through this, despite your best efforts, it can be hard to transcend all of this without taking some action steps. And one of those action steps that was super controversial back when my mom was going through menopause, which has become a lot less, I was going to say less controversial, I don't know if it's controversial at all anymore, is hormone replacement therapy. And again, I have not personally explored this, but I have several friends that are doing it, are on it, and are feeling incredible. So that's something that I am putting in my back pocket to explore. And I think the biggest reason that it was controversial in the past was because there were thoughts that it was linked to cancer, I think. And I think the research shows that that's not the case at all, and that there are also some much better quality hormone replacement options out there. So it is definitely something that I will be looking at when I feel like I need to. And from what I've heard is like this stuff can kind of creep up on you, even if you're thinking about it and talking about it, and it can really take over before you're ready. Because as much as we are aware that we're getting older, it's hard. There is zero part of me that wants any more children. I have not for many years, but there is something very surreal about entering that stage of life where you're like, you are no longer in your baby making years. And that can feel extremely liberating, but it's also like, wow, like I am past some seasons of my life that I will never get back. And the making babies piece of it is not sad. Well, you know what I'm saying? The having a baby, the working to make the babies part, that part's fun. That's there. But just the sadness in saying like this, there are seasons of our lives that have passed and will never get back. And yes, there are amazing seasons that lay ahead of us. But I think as much as I want us to be excited and look forward to that, I also want us to make room for any sadness that we feel about getting older and about these, being past seasons of our life, even if they weren't the best and even if the better ones lie ahead, right? Let's make space for all of those feelings and not shove them deep down inside. Let's actually feel them and talk about them and have conversations about what this new season is going to look like. Let's normalize talking about how our bodies change, how our priorities change. This is super random, but I had a realization as I was looking at the mail carrier in my neighborhood and in surrounding neighborhoods. They're so much younger than me now. I don't know why, but mail carriers always used to seem older than me. And I realized, and so like at first I was like, oh, wow, like people are becoming mail carriers younger and younger. Oh, no, I don't think that's it, honey. It's that I'm getting older. And I look around and I'm like, I am now like, I am sometimes the oldest person in the room. And while there is a confidence and clarity that comes to that, as I mentioned at the beginning, there's also like oh, wow, I am the oldest person in this room, right? Like it's both. And so, again, not much wisdom to share here, but just to share that this is something that we will all go through. And even if you were chemically put into menopause because you've had your uterus or your ovaries removed, you will still deal with the symptoms of it. So this is something that all women will experience on some level. And I'm glad that we are talking about it more, both in terms of the impact on our body and the resources out there, but also just the impact on our mind and how big of a concept it is to wrap our heads around, right? Obviously, men age and get older too, and their bodies change and their hairlines change, but they're not experiencing the hormonal changes to the degree that we are. And so I'm so glad that we are talking about it more. And I have crowdsourced some great resources and books about menopause that I am going to drop in the show notes for you. A link to some books that you can get your hands on that I think will be helpful, or I've heard will be helpful. Some of them I've started reading, just as we are all going through this process. So our big takeaway is maybe youth is not wasted on the young, but either way, let's embrace the wisdom and freedom that comes only with age. And getting organized will help you deal with getting older, if at the very least, because it helps you like really get in touch with what you need and then create a routine and a structure around giving yourself what you need. So spend some time figuring out what you need to feel your best. And remember, age is just a number. And I've mentioned my just absolutely fabulous grandmother in the past, and she would never tell her age. Nobody knew her. I still don't know how old she was when she passed away. My mom and her sister do, but they won't tell us because obviously they had to figure it out after she passed away. And I decided I don't actually want to know. However, as much as that was so fabulous for her, I am very proudly talking about my age all the time because I think I look good for my age. I feel good for my age. And I think it is inspiring to be able to talk about it, but also to see what you are able to build and create in your life after 40, because so much of the good stuff for me didn't happen until after I turned 40, even though I was really going to have a mental breakdown as I turned 40, or not was going to, like pretty much did. It wasn't pretty. But I want to talk about it because I want to inspire us to realize that even if you haven't done any of the work on yourself yet, it's not too late. And I want to leave you with sharing what I did for my 44th birthday and what I want to continue to do. So I realized when I was turning 40, and I just like, it hit me hard. And I realized after that I want to celebrate my birthday in a big way every year. I have a summer birthday, which when you're a kid is not great because no one's around in the summer. So you can't have birthday parties, or when you have them, they're not on your actual birthday. Like it feels a little lackluster. And so I kind of gotten in this mode of like, not being anti-birthday, but just not making it a big deal. And after feeling really down around my 40th, I decided every birthday I was going to like celebrate it in a big way. And for me, that didn't look like a big party. What it looked like is spending the money on me, all on me. So getting a fabulous gift. And for my 44th birthday, my husband actually booked me a stay at an amazing hotel downtown in Boston. We got a babysitter. My son was at sleepaway camp. We got a babysitter for my daughter, and we went out to an amazing restaurant in Boston. He brought me back to my hotel room so we could hang out for a little bit. And then I had the night to myself in the hotel room. Woke up the next morning whenever I wanted, ordered myself room service, went down to the spa, spent the entire day in the spa. And then my husband and daughter came to pick me up around dinner time. We ate dinner again in the city and then drove home after that. And it was absolute perfection. I got 2 dinners out in the city. I got a day night with my husband. I got a dinner out with my daughter. I got spa time. I got an overnight by myself. I ordered room service, like so many things in less than 24 hours. And it was incredible. Plus a really great gift for myself. So that is for me what I want my birthdays to look like. I'm planning to replicate that again for my 45th birthday. And then if, I feel like inspired to do something else fun and exciting, for 46 and so on, I'll do that. But I'm celebrating me in a big way. I decided I don't want a big party because I don't want to spend the money having a big party. I want to spend the money on me. But if you want a party or you want both, do it all. Do it all. You get to choose and do what feels fun for you. Maybe for my 50th, it'll be fun for us all to get together. But it actually, instead of having a party, I would love to do like a big trip with all of my friends. So maybe that for my 50th. So bottom line is, if celebrating your birthday in a really big way feels fun for you as we're getting older and just enjoying aging more, then you should go and do that. I hope that you feel inspired if you are already in this phase of life to take action. And if you are younger and listening to this, enjoy your youth, sweetheart. But also, hopefully it makes getting older feel a little less scary. I mean, I don't think I thought about it too much when I was younger, to be honest. And you don't need to think about it too much when you're younger. But just tuck this in the back of your mind for those of you who are younger, that when you get older, there are many wonderful things to look forward to. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day, and I will be back in your ears next week.